Okay. Hi there. My name is Tommy. Some people might know me as Mingjai on my YouTube channel. As a vlogger, I tend to get various opportunities to be the first person to open the latest tech. And every time I do an unboxing video, I tend to stumble on the same question every single time. So usually when you do an unboxing video, you would just open the box, and what do you usually see before the product? Anyone? You would be stumbling upon a stack of user's guide this thick, and all dedicated to one single mission, that is to teach you how to pair your earphones to your phone in 26 different languages, just in case. So I want to solve this mystery. I want your help. I want you to be honest. By a show of hands, how many people among the audience do actually go through the instructions manual every time you open a box? Anyone? Okay, there are like 5 of them. Okay, good, all right, good. Looks like I'm not in the minority. But if we switch it up, if I were talking about a piece of furniture, would you still skip the instructions manual by a show of hands? Okay, no one will skip it. Yes, not so many anymore. So why is that? Why would we skip instruction manual on certain products, but we focus on other products? I'm always interested in observing human behavior. So I begin to think, if reading carefully and following the steps was all it took to build a beautiful chair, wouldn't it be awesome if there was a user's manual to a successful life? I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if we could just live our lives by the book and follow the steps carefully, and we would ultimately be led to a successful, guaranteed successful life? In fact, there is a book. There is this guide to a successful life in the market, and I have read it, and I want to share it with you. It's mainly written by 3 authors, but before I share the book with you, I want to share a bit about my personal life and my friend. So I have a friend. We used to go to school together, and he used to get get really good grades because his parents, at a really young age, his parents already told him how important it is to get good grades in Hong Kong. In order to get good grades, in order to get into a good elementary school, you have to have really good grades. So he didn't want to disappoint his parents, so he joined all the extracurriculum. He studied, he focused, he paid attention in class, inside and outside of the class. He took tutor class after class, and then he studied really hard during the weekend, and he also joined summer school and did summer projects even on his holiday. He didn't waste a single minute playing. Whereas I was a very bad student, despite the fact that my mom was a teacher. Ironically, I was a really bad student. I never handed my assignments on time. That is if I decide to hand it in, of course. And my school bag was rarely open during elementary school. I think the highest record of my school bag being closed was 14 days. And by the time I did open it, it smelled so bad because the pork chop soup inside my lunchbox is long gone. So I still remember that smell. It smells like durian. And then, so me and my friend, we used to be in the same science class, and our teacher, Miss Miet, she was a hard ass. She was a hard ass teacher, and there was once my friend forgot to hand in the assignment. Well, of course I did too, as usual, right? And then this teacher was about to give him a hard time. So in order to stay away from punishment, he told the teacher the truth. He said, Miss Miet, well, Tommy told me that the assignment was due in a week. And then Miss Miet went, well, do you think Tommy's a good student? No, there you go. And I was there. I'm here, come on. And then, that's just to give you a glimpse on how teachers think of me in school. I would cause trouble in school, and when the principal finds out that it was caused by me, they would be like, oh, Tommy, Again? Yeah, I've grown infamous among the faculty members. So the story went on. My friend, he graduated, he had good grades, he got a job offer even before he graduated. And then for me, I went on to just drinking, gambling, and then just partying away during the senior years of my school life. So why am I bringing this up? I was talking about the user's guide to a successful life because my friend read it. My friend read this user's guide to a successful life. And he not only did he read it, he followed it completely. He didn't miss a step. So why did I share? I wanted to share this story to introduce the three main authors to this user's guide. What do you think is the first name? The first author of this guide, our parents. Our parents is the first author because at a really young age, if you grew up in Hong Kong, we were taught to spend all our time on school, on extracurriculum, so that we can get into a good elementary school. And in order to stay competitive, we have to learn a lot of things. Let's say piano or dancing or art. And then we get into, and in order to stay ahead of the curve, we have to do a lot of work to get into the best high schools, best universities. Okay? So this is our first author. And then a second author. Second author, teachers. It's probably the more conservative or more traditional teachers. They would teach us to stay in line. We have to stay in line. What else? I'm just still trying to think. We have to stay in line, and then we have to, be careful. Don't challenge the authority. Don't challenge their perspective. Basically, just memorize the right answers, and then you're good to go. And our third author, the society. Society, they pretty much has mapped out everything for us in our lives. Because on a usual life plan, we would finish school, and then we would work right away. We would get a job ASAP, and then in 8 years we probably get married. You're supposed to get married at 30 years old, and then in 2 years probably get a child, and you buy a flat. Okay, so this is basically don't take any risk, just play it safe. Then you're good to go. Forget about your dreams. Forget about fulfilling your passions. Just play it safe. So these are the three authors to this user's guide to a successful life. But it didn't seem to work out as planned. It didn't, because recently I met up with my friend again. During the meal, he told me that he kept on babbling about his life. He kept on telling me how he's in a dead-end job right now. He has no leisure time. He's always stressed out. But he never missed a step in this guide. It's not supposed to be like that. But he didn't seem happy at all. And for me, I failed in following those steps in all possible ways. But I ended up giving a TED Talk right now. I don't consider myself, I'm far from successful, but I have to admit, I'm really happy with my life right now. So what could have gone wrong with this guide? What could have gone wrong? Have you ever tried locating a restaurant with a map drawn 30 years ago? When you plan on following certain instructions, it may be a good idea to see when this guide was written. If it was written by your teachers or by your parents, it's probably bound to be somewhat outdated. It might have all worked perfectly during their time, but not all of them could be copy and pasted for today's use. Smartphones is pretty common today, but back then they were using pagers. Do you even know what pagers are? Right now, maybe emails is pretty common, but back then they were using pigeons to communicate. It's two different generations. And what is the second problem with this guide?
it's incomplete. Yes, this guide stops around at 3rd page, where we supposedly figured everything out right until we get our first job. What then? No one tells us what to do. No one teaches us what to do after we get the first job. You can't just... Have you ever went to IKEA and get a piece of furniture and then everything stays simple? You just follow their steps and then build the chair, and then on page 3, and then it stops. What are you going to do with the other 2 legs? You have no idea. So you're pretty much stuck at that place. But why? I tell you why. Why do they don't continue on with the guide? Because frankly, even grown-ups, even adults, they don't really have a clue what comes after. When you enter the real world, we are all kind of in the same fishes in the same sea. So they are just figuring it out just as much as we are. So they can't really, but they started you up. They started you up to the way in a way that they thought was a good start, based on their experience from the past, which led to a dead end for you now, according to what they thought best fits you. I think this is pretty much how we were taught when we grew up in Hong Kong. And in conclusion, I think it's a lot of times we should really look at ourselves. I want you to think hard. So there were problems with this guide. So I think this is a good time to look at the guide. And there's no single approach to life that will lead to success for every single person, because everyone is unique. And it is important, I urge you before you leave today, I urge you to think really hard on what you want in life and how you go to approach it. Set your own terms and be the author of your own life. Thank you. I'm sorry, subscribe to Mingjai 14.